You can teach skills, but you can't train for character. And sometimes the biggest hiring mistakes are the ones that look perfect on paper. Let's face it, hiring is tough. Even the best resumes can hide bad hires. That's why it's critical to know what to listen for and look for in an interview. My name is Bedford-Flood, founder of ProSource Staffing, and we help companies hire better, smarter, and faster. Today, I am breaking down 5 red flags you should never ignore when interviewing a candidate. Some are subtle, but they all signal one thing: proceed with caution. So let's dive right in. Red flag number 1: inconsistent and vague answers. If a candidate struggles to clearly explain what they did in their past roles or give different versions of the same story, it's a problem. Inconsistent or vague responses are a major red flag because they can indicate a lack of ownership, dishonesty, or an inability to articulate their experience. If a candidate is not clear on what they've done in their previous roles, it could suggest that they either didn't contribute meaningfully or are embellishing their experience. Why is this important? Clear and precise communication is essential in any role. If a candidate struggles to describe their past successes or contributions, it raises questions about their ability to convey important information in the future. It could also signal that they're not being truthful about their responsibilities. So here's what you need to look for. Look for specific examples and measurable results. A candidate should be able to explain their past actions clearly and confidently, linking them to positive outcomes. You're looking for clarity and ownership. For example, I increased one-time deliveries by 20% by revamping our logistics schedules. What you don't want to hear: I helped with shipping stuff. I think it's important. This may signal they're exaggerating or worse, just not even being truthful. Red flag number 2: bad mouthing their former bosses or companies. This is a big one and we hear it all the time. We all face challenges at work, but if a candidate immediately shifts blame or trashes their past team, take note. Candidates who constantly talk negatively about their previous employers or coworkers might be the problem in the workplace. Even if there were legitimate challenges in their previous jobs, how they frame those experiences say a lot about their character and professionalism. Why is this important? Negativity can be contagious. A candidate who blames others for all past issues could create a toxic environment, even if you have a great culture. The ability to show resilience and problem solving skills when things don't go smoothly is a key trait of any valuable employee. What to look for: a professional candidate will acknowledge challenges without shifting blame, demonstrate how they adapted, and focus on what they learned from the experience. A professional response would sound something like, there were challenges with leadership styles, but I learned how to adapt. A red flag sounds like, my last boss was clueless. That place was a disaster. Negativity like that tends to resurface in the workplace, everywhere they go. Red flag number 3: they didn't prepare. If a candidate can't tell you what your company does or has no questions for you, that's a clear signal they're just looking for a job, not your job. If they haven't taken the time to research your company, or worse, they don't even know what the role is about, they probably are not interested in the position at all and will not be productive in your environment. This is a major red flag because it shows a lack of initiative and investment in the job search process. Why does it matter? Candidates who don't do their homework may be applying to multiple positions without much thought, which could indicate that they are desperate or just looking for any job they can find. Companies deserve candidates who are enthusiastic and have a genuine interest in the company's missions and values. So, what to look for? Great candidates come prepared with questions that show they've done their research on your company and are genuinely interested in how they can contribute. They should also have a good understanding of the role's responsibilities and requirements. Great candidates come in with great questions, insight, and curiosity. They've Googled your company, they've checked you out on LinkedIn. Unprepared ones, they'll say, wait, what's this role again? You deserve someone who's as invested in the opportunity as you are. Red flag number 4, they sound way too perfect. If their answers feel overly rehearsed or they agree with everything you say, it could mean they're not being authentic or they're hiding something. When a candidate's answers seem overly polished or they agree with everything you say, it's possible they're trying too hard to present themselves in an ideal light. This can often mean they're hiding flaws or trying to please you at the expense of being authentic. Why does it matter? Perfection is an illusion. Every employee has strengths and weaknesses, and it's important to assess both in an interview. If a candidate refuses to acknowledge any challenges, conflicts, or area of growth, it could suggest they're hiding something or not being completely truthful about their experience. So, what do you look for? A good candidate will be comfortable talking about their accomplishments as well as their mistakes. They'll show that they've learned from both and they can handle criticism or setbacks constructively. Real candidates talk about both wins and mistakes. Someone who says, I've never had a conflict or I can do anything, I learned super fast, might be trying to please rather than being honest. And that's dangerous when you're trying to assess real fit for your organization. Red flag number 5, lack of self awareness. If you ask, what's an area you're working on? And they say, I can't really think of anything, that's a red flag. Candidates who cannot reflect on their weaknesses or areas of growth may lack that self awareness, which is essential for personal and professional growth. Being able to recognize your own limitations and actively work on them is a sign of maturity and self development. So, why does this matter? A lack of self awareness can make it difficult for an employee to accept feedback, adapt to change, or improve their performance over time. It also suggests they may not be open to growth and may be resistant to coaching or development. What to look for? A self aware candidate will openly discuss areas they're working on and demonstrate how they've taken steps to improve. They'll also be able to articulate how they've learned from past mistakes, which shows they're coachable and willing to grow in the role. Self aware candidates can reflect, admit mistakes, and show growth. They say things like, I used to struggle with time management, but I started using a calendar block system and it's made a big difference. That's someone who's honest and someone who is coachable. Now let's recap these 5 red flags. Inconsistent answers, trash talking past employers, no preparation, rehearsed or overly agreeable responses, and no self awareness. By watching out for these red flags, you can significantly improve your hiring process and avoid making costly hiring mistakes. These signs indicate that a candidate may not align with your company's culture or long term goals, and addressing them early in the interview helps ensure a better fit for both parties. One red flag isn't always a deal breaker, but when you start seeing 2 or 3, that's your sign to dig deeper, or better yet, walk away. Hiring the wrong person costs way more than taking your time to find the right one. Have you had any red flags in interviews? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear them. If you have found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more recruiting, hiring, and retention tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.